Classic Konversations with JT and Lo. You never know which way to rap. Classic Konversations with JT and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Konversations with JT and Lo. Classic Konversations with JT and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Konversations with JT and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric. Classic Konversations with JT and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Konversations with JT and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Konversations with JT and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic Konversations with JT and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is going. Classic Konversations with JT and Lo.
Yes, you might get, you'll get one and you'll get one.
Time it is, man. It is. Oh God.
Cake tastes mine. I think good shit. I know
What's
y'all
happening,
pushing
folks?
up.
It's time for Classic Konversations with JT and Lo.
And that's a cop.
To my immediate right is my man Lo, aka is my man Angelo, aka Lo, aka Mr. Sit Down at Uptown himself. To my far right is my man MJ, aka Ask a Cop, aka That Is All My Cake.
All my cake. Number one fan, they switched it up. They changed the name on the cake to For the Podcast, which we know did not exist.
Listen, you can't be late and full of bullshit. You gotta stop.
Preach.
My cake.
You can't be both.
And we are Classic Konversations with JT and Lo.
And that's a cop.
Listen, we're gonna get this thing popping real quick. As you can see, over to my far right, we have the lovely Jose. How you doing, young lady?
Hey.
There it is. And to my left, we have been a minute, but she's still a family member. The one and only Dr. Cindy in the building. How you doing?
I'm here. I'm excited. How y'all doing? It's so good to see y'all.
No, it's
Great
been a
to see
minute.
you
You've
as
been
well.
busy. You've been busy. We're gonna talk about that a little later too.
Okay.
Let the people know where you're at and all that good stuff. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. And one of the reasons we wanted to have you down here is because we wanted to talk about former LSU receiver Kyron Lacy. Has died at the age of 24 from an apparent suicide. Supposedly he was facing criminal charges stemming from a fatal car accident in Louisiana last December. That had clouded some of his NFL prospects. But supposedly on the day of the incident, there was an incident at a gathering, and then the police were called. As he takes off, police were chasing after him. He had a car accident, and supposedly he killed himself after he had the car accident, So we wanted to have Dr. Cindy up here, as you know, she is a grief counselor, and we've talked about this before in regards to suicide within our community, especially within our younger community in regards to suicide, in regards to everything that's facing them and everything.
Yeah.
And this guy, you're talking about somebody that was about to embark on an NFL career, probably looking to take care of his family. Then the incident, happened, and put a lot of pressure on him.
Yeah.
And then that incident of the day that happened, I'm sure, I can't say I'm sure, but I'm figuring that's what took him over.
Yeah. I think that it's something to have to face court. And nobody's ever ready to have your life be put in the hands of a judge and jury and all of that. When everything was in his life. He clearly already had some money. His family was already taken care of. That's clear. What I hate is when young men find absolutely nobody to talk to. That for me is what bothers me more than anything else, is that we have our black men who already come from what we would consider struggle, who would already come from blended families, father there, maybe not, mother there, maybe not. And out of all of the people in the world who I'm sure was riding this young man's coattail, he had nobody to talk to about what he was about to face, especially dying the day before the court date.
And that goes to the whole thing of that pride thing that we have.
Yeah.
And we're talking about somebody that probably seemed invincible to his peers.
Yeah.
Seemed invincible to some of the family members because of what he's done in college football and things of that nature. So he probably felt that he was going to be judged if he spoke to other people. What do you think about that?
Of course, everybody thinks that, but there has to be, and we have to be clear, there has to be an opportunity for any person, no race, no age, no gender, to have a person, just one person you trust. I'm not looking for a village to people to trust. I'm looking for one person for you to trust, to share the ins and outs of your life so that you know, I got this person, right? And you have an accountability partner that's there to help you, walk you, even if it's just the ear and listen and don't say a word. Because you might not always have the word for the person.
Right.
But more so you want to know that you got a support system. And a support system has to be able to be somebody that you can share your deepest, I'm talking about uttermost secrets with, that you battle with in the middle of the night when it's just you and your spirit. You got to have somebody that says, all right, man, I hear you. Just chill out, right? Let's talk about it. Go on and share it. But the ego of the man is always going to be attacked just by DNA alone. And we got to unlearn that. Men have to unlearn that. Look, women have to unlearn that. Pride and ego don't go by gender to me. Men have a more dominant part of pride, but we all have pride.
Do you think that more people should really make themselves available? And when I say that, I mean as in actually verbalizing to somebody, bro, you know, if you need to talk, I'm here for you. Or in regards to the lady, sis, you know, you need to talk. You know, if you see something happening with somebody. Now, I'm not saying everybody that you see walking down the street look like they stressed, you walk up to them and say it. But I'm saying if you're close to somebody, you have to make sure that they know that they can actually speak to you.
Yeah, I think that starts with the circle, right? You got to have a solid circle. You can't just be like, that's my partner. And you don't know he at the house beating on his bra and beating his kids, and he don't talk to his mama, and he disrespect his daddy. Like, that's your partner, but you really don't know the inside of it. So I think where we lack thereof as individuals is the people in our circle, we don't really know them. We just like to hang out because we need attention.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question about this particular incident. Just the thoughts, I guess. The from the reports, and there's one particular football player, I can't remember his name, but he had sent he sent a screenshot of the text that he had just communicated with this young man the day before and was telling him, hey, man, keep your head up. I got you. If you need me, hit me up. You know what I mean? You're going to get through this process. And then he said, yeah, man, he said something real short. And the dude came back and said, nah, man, for real. You know, hey, you know, you're going to get through this thing. And the dude said, yeah, man, I see we're going to be in the NFL soon. So somebody did reach out to him. And I don't know if that person was a former football player. He's in the NFL now. And he was kind of telling him, you know, we're going to get you here. But do you think it's, when you say that circle, do you see sometimes that it's not strong? Like, what does it take then for a person to know you got some guys that you could reach out to, but maybe, you know, you chose not to, or what that mental could be going into it?
I think for the most part, my belief system on this is that as a circle, you need to be vulnerable and resilient with the people that you consider your circle. That means that there's a no bars hold. If you tell me your intimate things that you want to share with no one else, I need you to understand that unless you're really vulnerable and resilient and transparent with me, I don't know how much you need me. If you sugarcoat it, close it up, put it on top of the other layer of stuff going on in your life, you can't just get it out. You gave yourself no space, so you give me no space. You got to give people space, and you have to have enough space to be able to attain it, and that's part of the circle. You have to literally ask a person that's in your circle, can I count on you today? We ain't in tomorrow yet. Just today, I need you. Can I count on you today? And let's get to tomorrow when tomorrow comes. But right now, I need you, Lo. Like, in this moment, I need you. And so one thing is that we're not intelligent about our emotions enough. We don't know how to say, we know how to say mad and sad, right? But when the anxiety is sitting in and you don't know what to do and you about to lose it and you don't got nobody to talk to and you just like, give me some weed, give me some liquor, give me some, right? Now it's just like you're trying to run from the thought, but we want you to face the thought. Face the thought. The thought ain't gonna go nowhere. You're going to cover it up with all of the things that's going to take your mind off of it. But then what? The high gonna come down, you back to thinking about what really is bothering
Going
you.
down, yeah.
Right? And so those are STIRBs, right? We talked about STIRBs, which is short-term energy releasing behaviors, and it's just a fact. More men close up than women. But I see now there's a ton of men. I know all of my colleagues, they're building up mental health programs for men. They're doing circles for men. They're having very vulnerable conversations. They're opening up. They're letting people know. I've pain this too long, I'm done. I don't want to keep talking about it. I don't want to keep feeling like that. I want to get it out. You got to journal it or talk about it.
MJ, I know in your line of work that you were in, that out of all the years, I know you've come across some people that you thought if they had somebody to talk to, they probably wouldn't have been on the other end of your handcuffs.
No, more what I really recall a lot, I've probably been on the scene of probably 20-some odd suicides. Because when we go to SWAT, and that's what I think happened with that young man, you got to realize he's a stud in high school. You don't go to LSU. You was somebody in high school in football.
Facts.
And he went from being a high school kid that got everything handed to him. And then that's not saying it's a bad thing, but everybody wants to be around that guy. And then he went to LSU. And my people from Louisiana, LSU football players and Jags, Southern University football players, the campuses right there, they're worship. And then on top of that, so before they had NIL, they was already getting things free. So you have a kid that know he had screwed that up, and then he goes around and compounds it because he probably wrapped his head around, okay, they're going to be able to get me out of this, they're going to be able to get me out of this. And just like when you tell your kids something, what do you tell them? Don't fuck up again. Don't do it. You're going to ruin your life. And so he saw it, so he ran. And that's typically when SWAT's called. And the one thing we can't do, and you contest to that, we don't let nobody speak to their mama.
Right.
Because that's a goodbye call.
Right.
And I think what happened in that case, and like many cases, when you hear that single gunshot, and might be a major right there. So, was that one of your guys? And nah, that one of mine. Because we shoot on command. And what ends up happening, they take their own life. Because when you're sitting there and you have a hostage negotiator, which is pretty much a therapist, and he's doing that touch right then, and you hear people going over their whole life. I can only imagine being 18, NIL, he's had the NIL money, in his early 20s, so he's not even really a man. Because a man had to get out there at some point and take care of himself. This kid has been taken care of. Now you put money on top of that, and I think it was a perfect storm. I guarantee you, everybody told him, man, we got you. You just can't F up no more. You can't F up no more. And voila, he got himself in some shit again and took off running. And then when he said, I'm going to get up, he probably was in a Hellcat and couldn't outrun him. Wrecked, and he's like, oh, hell, man, I lost everything. Promise my mama I'm gonna do this. Boom, and it happens like that because it shakes you up. I had to have counseling after I got out the police force because you hear so many people take their lives, and it's a different thing when it's somebody almost begging for help and they're crying like a baby. And I know you know about that. And it's just, I really felt for that young man because I didn't see it like a lot of other people saw it. I saw that man had already said, okay, they got it together. He had already met with a lawyer. Them big wigs at LSU threw some money behind it. We said, we know the judge and everything else is going to be perfect storm for him. And everybody told him at the same time, just don't fuck up again. And he did, and I think that's what caused that.
You know, I think I have 3 NIL students, one at USC, one at Florida Gators, and one who's getting ready to go to school, right? The one that's at USC, I immediately call him and I put him on FaceTime, like, hey, man, you enough. You understand you enough? And he's like, yes, Doc. I'm like, please understand you are enough, right? So we're sending 17-year-olds to college by themselves with $9,000 a week that came from a home that has nothing, right? Or came home from that has a very little, right? And so, yes, the NIL program will structure their money a little bit, but come on. Broke men walk around and have fun. So a young 17-year-old that could buy some Prada shoes out the store with his own money and his own cards, you can't tell them nothing. But you have to empower. You got to uplift. You got to mentor. You got to give them the things to make them understand how valuable they are. So there's one thing I say to my clients. You got 2 options. You either going to be on the field and let them watch you, or you going to be in the stands because of your decisions and watch your team. You make the decision. So every time you think about something, stands or the floor, stands or the field, stands or the floors, right? You got to make sure they know, why am I here? You ain't here to be skipping school and not doing what you're supposed to do and think it's all about football or basketball. No. But it's a team of people that should be attached to that baby till he get into the hands of the professional.
That's why I look at it like that, baby. So who, I don't know, you can't say names, but was it the parent that came to you or was it the student itself that came to you? Just saying he needed that help.
No, the agency.
Okay.
So they're all attached to an
good.
agency.
Okay,
and
that's
the
good to have a good
agency
agency.
has me engulfed as their
Okay, that was
therapist
good
for
then.
the students. So
That's
I
good.
touched
That's
them
really
from
good.
high school all the way through
that's
college.
Yeah, that's good. That's good because, like
Yeah.
I said, I see it.
That's big.
And I have a buddy, I give his name away, but his son is in that same position, and I see the pressure on him. And his dad's got his own business and has money, but he's got some. They all played at Buford at one point, and you know Buford High School. That's just like Cedar Grove,
Factory.
Saints, Factory. So I see a lot of those kids have it such an early, and they knew this shit is when they're in 7th and 8th grade. They know they're earmarked for it, and they're getting that money. But I think the pressure also is put on by the parents. It's not just. I think the parents are the biggest thing because it's like my buddy son where they work out at now. Everybody's taking that money that they would have spent going to the casino on the weekends and buying some blunts or whatever, and they taking their kids and taking them to these camps. And that's something you're probably going to see in the future, the kids that just ain't that dude. And their parents are putting in the money, so if I put this money behind it, they're going to be this and they're going to be that. And you see kids that just ain't got it.
Yeah,
There's a whole story on that thing when we had the guy who stole all that money from the people, but whenever we got closed out. But I just want to say that this guy, the father, made a statement afterwards. I don't know if y'all saw it, but the father said, hey, this is a message to all these parents to talk to your children, no matter what their ages are. Talk to them, and when you ask them are they all right, and they say I'm straight, don't just let it go with I'm straight.
Absolutely.
Dig a little bit deeper because he regrets the fact that he didn't dig deeper into his son's mental and what's going on. And I think because sometimes he's 24, he's paid, like you said, already got the NIL deal, so you kind of feel like they are grown. You know what I mean? But your kids still need you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And somebody needs that ear. And I think sometimes the strongest person that can get to that kid is usually the parent still. You know what I mean? They
You know,
if they have that relationship.
Absolutely. That's why I still hold on to the parents when the kids go to school. So I still meet with the parents every week.
Yeah.
I meet with the entire family every week, and then the kid zooms in, right? We're on FaceTime or we Zoom. But what I think needs to be very profound from this, a takeaway from this is for every family, is y'all need to know this. Solidify a day in your household. No phone zones, and choose a topic. Let the topic be something that everybody in the house can address and engage in. Everybody. I don't care if it ain't no kids in your home. Choose a day of conversation and call it your mental days. Talk about it. Don't hold it in. Don't go to sleep with it. Wake up in the morning and say, today is Tuesday. Tuesday is mental health day. The phone's on do not disturb. And you find the topic and y'all talk and you let it out. Cry, kick, I don't care what it is. Be resilient in your homes and stop hiding and holding stuff back.
Are you close?
I wanted to add that I'm glad that you were talking about that they're trying to create some groups, because when you start talking about a circle, what I realize is like a lot of people don't have a circle.
Right.
There are a lot of people out here that are dealing with issues and they don't have people around them that they can trust. So I think you do need like those other outlets. The other thing I wanted to say was this is something that has touched my family personally, because I had a brother that committed suicide. And
My condolences.
that it's something that you almost never heal from, because you always wonder, just like what you're talking about right now, could you have done more? Could you have been more available? But a lot of times when people, especially men don't always have like that group, right, that they can just go with and be vulnerable, where women do a lot of times, not all women, but sometimes women, they feel okay with just crying in front of anyone or really expressing how bad they hurt. And men have said that they don't always feel that way, right? So I think like those having a support group that is not necessarily maybe your friends, maybe not necessarily family, because men, can be prideful. We all can be prideful, right? And that's why we don't want to talk about certain things with our loved ones. So just creating like safe spaces.
All right. Well, listen, we had Dr. Cindy up here for this reason. We've had shows in regards to mental health, and I see that. We should do. We always talk about mental health, but I want to say thank you for coming in and giving your expertise on this. We're going to have to revisit this.
Sure.
I myself have just started my own group within the cigar community. Men Who Do You Vent To? So I will be, talking to you and everything about that. But rest in peace.
Yeah.
Prayers with the family and everybody that's affected by it.
Yeah.
We're gonna get moving on to the subject matter. We have a gift to the show.
Yeah, real quick, man. Slide it
Hold
over
on,
here. So
hold on,
hold on. Just be patient, my man. Hand that thing in.
Hey, I wasn't here on time, and they put their name on my gift.
Cry me a river. Listen. So this can just be done, and we can move on to the show. Let me just get this out of the way, because this dude hands wouldn't stop itching. You in the middle of
If
talking.
you knew how this
He
cake
slide
tastes,
he
if you knew how
sliding
this
over
cake
trying to
tastes-
unload
Nah,
the
'cause I
plastic. I'm
know
having to
what they
stop
gonna
his
do.
hand.
Yeah.
Like, hold on, man.
I'm gonna lick every piece.
Listen.
God, dog.
Shout out to number one fan. He said he gonna lick every piece.
PC.
Shout out number one fan for the
Chuck
for the,
hell.
for the gift to the podcast of the pineapple upside down cake, and the fact that I have a whole full cake in the office, MJ, that she made specifically for you, and it's in the office. So would you wipe those tears from your eyes?
Crybaby
She look-
juice
You know what I'm
head.
saying?
Gonna rip the top off and lick every one
You
of them.
got your own personal cake that she made just for you. This particular one
Crybaby.
is for the podcast. Now,
Okay.
JT, we can move on.
That's
Good God Almighty, right?
That's okay.
Good.
Yeah. My goodness, man.
I was focused totally on the cake. I said, hell no, they ain't gonna
He
do that.
sliding over. I checked the
Miss,
plastic
right.
all like, man.
It's good. Wait till you taste that cake. You be like, damn.
All right, so we're going to move this thing on. So the video
We
that's
see y'all
going
message
around
too. We'll respond to those
on
messages.
social media, basically speaking about the same oppressor, different struggles. Why are we still divided? So black, brown, and indigenous, we've all been impacted by the same systems of oppression. So why does it feel like we're on different teams? What we're going to do today, we're going to unpack the roots of the division within marginalized communities, the role that the media and politics play, and whether true unity is actually still possible. It was a dream that we have in regards to getting there. So basically, they were speaking of it was some Oriental gentlemen, and they were speaking. They were speaking. Is that the right word? Oh, okay. Because I was looking up, but Asian. Okay,
Yeah.
Asian people, Asian gentlemen.
Okay, Mega Boy.
Speaking about the civil rights movement and how the civil rights movement didn't only affect us as black people, but it affected brown people, and it affected the Asian community.
Okay.
But yet still, we're all divided. If you think about it, we're still divided.
The civil
So
rights
why
didn't
is that?
affect all of us. We carried the torch, and they benefited from us carrying the torch.
But it still affected them, MJ.
No, it didn't affect them. They basically was on the sidelines. Jews and blacks and the whites that helped out were the ones that fought the civil rights. When blacks gained the civil rights, Asians piggyback off that because at the time, Asians was treated worse than anybody. And a lot of Asians left the country. The Chinese started coming back in. We helped a lot of that. So blacks help everybody. They don't claim it. Colorism, where the divisions that's between African Americans, Asians have the same thing. When you go to Asia, you have darker skinned Asians on the bottom, then you have the Koreans, the Chinese, and the Japanese. So they have that same division. Africa, same thing. They put in that case, they're all dark, they put the minority in charge of the majority. So a lot of that is European influence throughout the world.
So they were still affected.
I didn't want to go there. I wasn't going to do that. He actually
The
said
same
it
level
while
of
he was
work.
trying to explain it. But yes, but so in regards to that, why do you feel that it's still a division?
Because now they were allowed to be placed at a higher level. It's the same thing that when apartheid fell, all the South Africans did was put the coloreds in the place of the whites, and they still ran the country the same way. And I think what happens in America, everybody from the East Asians, all of them think we're a minority, but we're better than blacks. And America's taught that through TV, mass media. To this day, they force the same face of crime is black, the face of poverty is black. And now, what is everybody learning? Because of our president, they're learning that they're getting the same D that blacks get. So the trailer parks and everybody that voted, that whole contingent is feeling the same pain that blacks feel. They're being made, oh no, well, we're better than them. We got it bad, but we're better than them. And I think a lot of it is just, a lot hasn't changed, but I think we were the catalyst of all that.
Why do we separate? Let's not get into the Asians. What about the blacks themselves? Why, after everything we went through for civil rights, why do we not stick together?
I think it's definitely a brainwash. I do. I feel like we've been brainwashed because a lot of black people, they don't even like themselves. So how are you going to like someone else black? You know, and the media feeds into it. I feel like, you know, with, like a lot of these different programs and stuff, they have black men going against black women on most of the programs, you know, or talking down about marriage. So you have like other things that are in play that I feel like have been set up that way to make us not like ourselves and not like our brothers.
I think we learned in the house that if the stove is hot and you put your hand on it, you're going to get burned. Right? Did anybody learn that? Right. But what I think we do is we clearly create a lot of this on our own, from our own DNA, from our own households. And if you imagine the average person walks around with about 15 to 20 years of trauma, at minimum, it's double that for real.
I agree.
Right? So it comes from the home. Why is it that we can run around our entire life and not face the things that get us into the mode that affects the community and the world? It's the trauma. Mm-hmm. Everybody's separated from what put them in a place to not be their full potential self. And then you come outside. And then once you come outside, you mingle and blend families, and they didn't do it, so now we got children with the same 2 double DNAs of trauma because nobody wants to come outside. We not even near politics and DEI and Trump. We can hear what the media say and try to follow it, but right now, if no one is paying attention, God is in the midst of these homes individually. He is doing bloodlines. He is on to DNA. So it's like blend your families and figure out what y'all got to do before you can come outside and attach to what the world got going on.
But where do you think the 20 years of the trauma came from?
Well, trauma is bloodline based
I
on
agree.
individually, right? So trauma, depending on the trauma, the majority of us come from slaves, right? Where we were
Exactly.
mistreated, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Then our parents, who wasn't slaves no more, still try to act like they was, and they'll
Yeah.
treat us. Right? We ain't supposed to be beat. We weren't supposed to be
Hey,
whooped.
I just
All that
wrote a
kind of
piece
stuff.
about
Now
it.
we had to
Yeah.
be disciplined, and we
Yeah.
know the whooping corrected us. And then other people grew up and felt like, no, we ain't supposed to whoop our kids. I whooped my kids, but then I learned that you got to communicate with your kids. You're gonna get a better outlook on it. I just did what they did. It's kind of like the grandmama with the ham. Y'all know the ham story? Okay, so the grandmama, the granddaughter, we're gonna do it in generation berries. The granddaughter has a new husband, and she says, "Let me cut this off and put it in the freezer. Throw it away." Why do you throw the ham away? I don't know. Let me call my mother. She calls her mother. Mom, why do we throw the ham away? I don't know. Call your grandmama. Call the grandmother. Grandma, why do you throw the ham away? I ain't have enough room in the pan.
Damn.
Yeah.
Right? So nobody knows that we just keep repeating cycles.
Yeah.
We don't even know why we're repeating them. And until you step back off the hamster wheel and be like, hey, them folks crazy as hell, and I got their blood. What the hell wrong with them?
Yeah.
Because somebody's got to say, this ain't right, this ain't normal.
Yeah.
But we already done created kids, and now we want to talk about DEI in the world. We did that. We did that.
But a lot of times when you start bringing up the fact that there's no need to throw out the ham, or you know what I'm trying to say? In
Yeah.
other words, when you start pointing out like some of these things we shouldn't be doing, then you end up being the black sheep, or you end up being the one that's, you know, even some of what we're going to talk about today, then you're looked at as the one that is negative.
Or you just know
because
too
you're
much.
calling stuff out. There
Right?
you
Because
go.
now you're saying
Yes.
grandma just didn't have a
This
big
is
enough
right.
pan.
Or
They
you-
got bigger pans now.
Exactly.
I mean, like,
Exactly.
we don't got to throw it away.
You bougie.
Yeah, you bougie.
Yes.
No, grandma,
So
we got a bigger pan now.
I think a lot of this is still, and I agree with 100% what you said in terms of that trauma, and it's just over and over again. But it's an argument I've been having with this certain comedian that everybody knows over the last couple of days, and I just feel like a lot of time we say why we can't ever stick together and the things of that nature is because we, especially we as American, you know, what I mean, living in this country, right? A lot of our kids, how we grew up, how we were taught is, you know, the best you ever got was slavery on. That's all we ever got.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You learned about slavery. We saw Roots. We found that. We like that's all that was going on. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We didn't really know. Nothing of that stuff was really taught. But it started from, you know, our history for a lot of people. That's where it starts from.
Yeah.
We have no idea the magnitude of the greatness of what black people have done, not just in this country, but worldwide.
Yep.
And it's never taught to us.
Right.
So if you're coming in the game from the bench and the last spot on the bench, you never get to the starting lineup. No one's ever telling you how great you were. No one's ever telling you all your history. So our kids are learning from an inferior standpoint.
Right.
We're learning things from the point of we're behind. We have to catch up to them. They did this. They did that. Everything we've ever taught was them.
Right.
It's all we've ever taught. So the white student feels already superior because they
Trace
claim it all
it
the
back
time.
to
We
the
built this country.
kings and
Yeah,
England
that's
and
all
everyone.
but that's all we know. Those other races, they're taught that stuff internally, right? But the Asians, they're taught their history.
That's right.
The Jews are taught their history. I mean, remember, white and black wasn't even a race. It's not a. It's a color. You know what I'm saying? But for us, it became a race.
Yeah.
So you're not taught about none of the things that you were great. And I always felt like if these kids were taught these things, white and black, and if everybody was taught the greatness of their particular things, you know, when we took world history, U.S. history, we never learned anything about us.
Black history.
Only thing we got for Black History was when they finally made a Black History Month. We got the same people over and over again: Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Malcolm X. We didn't get nothing else.
That's right.
We didn't get those great leaders. We didn't get the great kings and queens and the warriors and the all the inventions that were stolen. We didn't get any of that stuff. So you're coming from an inferior position from the beginning, and I keep arguing with him about they're trying to reverse that back to what you were starting to learn. No, wait, we can't let them learn that.
Right.
We can't let them learn that they were great.
It's all
Wait a
by
minute,
design.
pause, because that might make them feel like they're somebody.
Yeah.
And as long as they can keep us to that position, it's going to continue to be feel like we're inferior, and the only way we're going to get anything is to want to be like them.
Right.
And that's our problem. We want to be like them so bad because that's all we know, and I think that's going to always be the issue until that junk can change.
There it is. So listen, man, we're going. That was great, dog. That was really good. Really good. So we're gonna break on that. When we come back, man, we're gonna find out why the ratchetness has so much damn power. Why is the ratchetness the shit? We'll be right back. Classic Conversations with JT and Lo.
That's a cop.
He beat us in spades, which is very rare occurrence for me to lose in spades. But here was the thing I wanted to mention. He beat us in spades while doing calculus homework on his computer and didn't skip a beat.
Break down the old entering classic K rating, extrapolate breach of the.
You know,
Hey, this kid was just I'm talking about doing the formula, doing all this stuff, and didn't miss a beat. He has a desire to win. He's getting, he really studies, you know what I mean? You cannot renege on him. Because even while doing calculus, he watches every single card hit that table, so,
I was about to say, it don't matter what nobody else was doing. If he can play spade and do calculus, I still ain't figured out how to pass calculus. And he can play spade and do it.
and do it at the same time.
I didn't have to try to figure out how to pass it because I never took it.
I mean, I just...
Ready to find a studio that matches your podcast vision? Located inside Uptown Comedy Corner, our studio just 5 minutes from Atlanta's airport has everything you need. From high-quality equipment to multi-camera setups for live streaming, we've got it all. With 15 plus years of experience, our team ensures smooth sessions with editing and post-production services at an additional cost. Plus, our competitive pricing make it easy for creators of all levels. Contact us at 404-500-1605.
He beat us in spades, which is very rare occurrence for me to lose in spades. But here was the thing I wanted to mention. He beat us in spades while doing calculus homework on his computer and didn't skip a beat.
Break down the Olympic performance standard to Classic K rating, extrapolate reach of the.
You know,
Hey, this kid was just doing, I'm talking about doing the formula, doing all this stuff, and didn't miss a beat. He has a desire to win. He's getting, he really studies, you know what I mean? You cannot renege on him. Because even while doing calculus, he watches every single card hit that table. So, LSU brothers.
I was about to say it don't matter what nobody else was doing. If he can play spade and do calculus, I still ain't figured out how to pass calculus. And he can play spade and do it.
I didn't have to try to figure out how to pass it because I never took it.
I mean, I just
Took his life at age 25. Yeah, I think he panicked based on the second scenario. Feel like I have nowhere to turn. And I think that's probably what happened to him. Coach Dungy's son took his life as well. Frank says he lost multiple soldiers to suicide. I'm talking nearly double digits. Depression, severe bomb tech, combat, no stressing, family relationships, divorce, and failed marriage. Number one cause. What's up, Unc said, why can't Trump take his life when I talk bad about him? David chimes in here. Tickled David with the Oriental. Tickled us all with the Oriental. When I said Oriental's hilarious, haven't heard that since episode on Sanford's Son.
Oriental.
David said, I just learned about Tulsa 10 years ago and they put it on the road. See, that's another perfect example. Perfect example.
10 years ago.
Well, wasn't a story. They wanted to keep that jump buried.
That's right.
Mom said she'd never forget when we were in Dallas. My history teacher told us his story. That's the first time ever. That man opened my eyes to history and our history. You know what I mean? But he was one of the ones who taught black.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
And number one fan says real quick, playtime, good time, showtime, Lakers at 5. Got you.
I saw that. I saw that. All right, so let's get on, man. Next topic here: clout over class. The rise of the ratchetry, the rise of ratchet role models, from virtual antics to chaotic influences. The ratchet behavior has started. I mean, it is celebrated more than anything. But why are we rewarding the foolishness with fame? So why are we sharing the ratchetness? Why are we commenting, saying stuff like "dope"? Oh, that's fly. Blah blah blah. We're talking about how this trend is going to affect our culture and the future of it.
It's affecting it now.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's in a totally different way. Because we're supposed to be in our soft girl eras. Anybody over 30 need to be trying to prepare to be a wife, not a bride, a wife. And once you become a bride, you got to remember that when you take that dress off that night, you are now a wife. But they staying in slut bucket stages. They ain't even trying to be wives, and they wives, and it's your turn. Oh, it's your turn. I'm gonna divorce him, and I'm gonna marry him, and then and it's just, you got daughters who's looking. You think that they don't see? Because the amount of childhood trauma comes from the eye, not the ear. Little girls see their mamas walking around here fighting in $5,000 Louboutins on TV and think that it's cool.
It's crazy that you said that, because I'm sure a lot of people feel that that's not trauma. I'm sure there's a lot of people that feel that if a kid watches their mama, their auntie, or anybody on social media doing some of the antics that they're doing, that they feel that that's actually not a trauma.
Oh, no. It's firsthand trauma that lasts through the adulthood because we begin to suppress it, because at a certain age, we don't know if it's right or wrong if our mama doing it.
So why do we reward it?
I don't even think we are, not all of us are rewarding it. One thing that I've been seeing on some of those posts, because I think that's what you're kind of talking about right now, sometimes some of the stuff that's posted, some of those accounts are fake. Like, you have people that are rooting for the negativity, right? But they're fake accounts. And I know I try not to be a conspiracy theorist, but I really do feel like that America tries to push a certain view of black people, right? So they're
That's what I
going.
was
So
talking
when
about
these
earlier.
posts, so they attach themselves to negative posts and try to basically support the post. And it's probably not even a black person behind who people that are saying, "Oh, this is funny" or "This is good." You see what I'm saying?
I do.
And so and because I've always felt like that's their thing. In general, they try to make us look bad in the media.
But
Even with the rap music, they support all the
let's
negative
say
rap music.
there's some people that's actually us that's actually doing
Yeah.
it.
Making us look bad.
But I think that
let's
might
go
be
there.
the minority,
Let's
though.
go there.
It was a lot.
Let's go there. Why?
But I'm
why-
saying, do you think? I
think
think that
it-
might be the minority.
Whether it's the
though.
minority or not, the simple
Yeah.
fact that it's done,
That's right.
Yeah.
there are people on though, and these are real people.
Oh yeah.
I hate to say it.
Yeah, but
I
I
know
think-
some of them.
That ain't no for real. Let's be clear.
This goes what to I was talking about earlier before you shot me down, JT. That it goes from the trauma. Trauma is a byproduct of a racism that's always been there in America. It's manifests itself because if we weren't enslaved, if we weren't brought over here by slaves, if we weren't beaten, it never would have occurred that we taught to beat our own kids. So that's a byproduct of the racism in America. All we're seeing now with the media, the quickest way to do it is my views dropped when I was making my comments about Gaza. Okay, but if you notice, you see a white child get killed or a white person get killed or Asian gets killed, it's taken down automatically by Facebook, it's all in IG. You can kill a black person, see a black person gunned down, a black person get gunned down by the police, black people fighting like cats and dogs, and it's allowed to be on there. So all this ratchetness is because a certain segment of our population doesn't know the difference between being laughed at or laughed with. And I think that trauma is caused, it's 100% systematic racism that occurs in America. They put out the look on crime is a black face, on poverty is a black face. Every time they went, they had two, like I remember Channel 11, they had one heavyset white chick was talking about, oh, he took my food stamps, and they blacked her out. But when they showed the food stamp office, it was pure black. They couldn't go to the food stamp office in Putnam County or in Tupelo, Mississippi.
Right.
They always made that pan, when they do that pan shot, a bunch of black people, and it's typically a certain segment of our population. It's gonna look the same way every time, skinning and grinning, ass showing, waiting for a dance.
I think that's twofold, and that's a good point. But you're speaking more media. I'm talking about our house. I'm talking about us. We know what we're doing, and we're intentionally doing it. And
I just think it's to the point we've been influenced by a certain segment of our population has been influenced by media so much since gangster rap came out that they don't know wrong from right.
I beg to differ, and I'm gonna tell you why. Before gangster rap came out, your mama and your daddy did not know how to tell their stories. Before gangster rap came out, your mama and daddy already had traumas.
Not
And
rap, gangster rap. It's two different
any of it, right? We're talking any rap. We ain't even there yet. We're talking grandmothers, great-grandmothers who had trauma that came into the plan of the DNA. From that, a lot of us have what we had because no one knew how to remove themselves and change it, right? We are now, fair to say, it's probably more people getting help for their mental in these last 5 years since COVID than in the history of the world. So now people are trying to figure out, what do I need help with? Why do I need to see a therapist? How can you understand who you are if you don't even know where you came from, right? We got men who don't know their fathers. They 48 meeting their fathers, and they just got to treat the dude like the dude in the barbershop. One of my partners. But this my man. I got his blood. I'm walking like him. I'm talking like him. I'm acting like him. And then he don't even know his grandson, but he gonna skip me because it's easier to not deal with me and go straight to the grandson because it's too hard to face you. I left you. And I left you for a reason because let's be clear. It's a bunch of babies that was conceived from a chick who really just had a one-night stand, and that was never your dad's girl, but you don't know how to tell. The mama don't know how to grow up and tell the child child. I was the cut,
Yeah.
right? And the daddy don't know how to tell the child that I saw your mama in the bar one night. It was a one-night stand, and I moved around. 8 months later, she talking about she pregnant, and because I don't know her, I'm clearly going to say it's not mine.
I understand what you're talking about, and I agree with you 100%. But the cause of irrationalness was a welfare act when the black male was taken out of a household by design. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. We can say what we want about the trauma. The trauma exists and it needs to be dealt with. That's the byproduct and end. What we have now is caused by that.
Right.
But if we don't go back and teach the infected amongst us about how it all occurred, we're doomed, because they'll listen. They could listen to this, but let somebody with 110 views have Sexy Red dropping like it's hot. They're not gonna watch it. We could have Jesus sitting right up here between me and Lo, and let Sexy Red and a couple of others drop it like it's hot, and they say, "Oh man, Sexy Red's butt naked on such." They drop it like a heartbeat, and that's what's wrong with our society.
And you said about the gangster rap, and I like what you said in regards to that. But when the gangster rap came out, as you said, Dr. Cindy, they were telling a story of their neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Instead of us using it as education, we glorified it and decided to try and be that.
Facts.
Why? That's where we at. Why do we glorify it instead of using it as education of something that shouldn't be done, or that we got to be better than that?
Well, once again, it comes back to systematic racism, because when you take the black male out of a household, you had a lot of households that were led by women.
MJ, we take
it didn't always work. The first generation it worked, but as it gets further and further away from that, and you don't have black male role models in the home, you have a lot of men, which you can attest to, that don't know how to express themselves, and it goes into violence. That's part of it.
Let me help you out with this. And the only reason I'm saying this is because I love the view you have, but I'm telling you that this is different. We cannot keep using that as an excuse to what we're doing. Now,
I'm not saying it's an excuse. It's
but listen what I'm saying. Because you want to respond. I want you to respond. I want you to listen to retain this, because I'm really saying this is what's helping the generation we have right now. Our age bracket, we're going to always see it different. We're the Gen X. We're going to see it different. We right there, right below where our grandfather might have been a slave. That's how old we are, right? But the younger people, right? The younger people who are like our kids and our friends' kids, who we know didn't come up in a proper family to understand that, they were shifted when the majority of the people in our age, they went to prison because the crack cocaine went high. Everybody was selling dope. Everybody wanted to be a drug dealer. Everybody wanted to do everything but go to work, get a job, and do the trade check every 2 weeks, because the fast money took over, right? From the 70s. We know all the big drug dealers back then was a thing. Now everybody thinking, oh wait, I don't got to go to school. I could just go get I don't have to get no education. I can get some money from a man off the block, then get me a Benz and get me a broad to wear some jewelry around her neck, and then buy her a purse. We look like we running stuff, and forget the whole house never learned a rule, no morals, and no values. So it ain't the white folks. I can see what people can say about what white people is doing. We need to be accountable for the lack of morals and values when our papas and Medeas died.
The root cause of everything that's wrong with the black community, and if you don't recognize that, you're doomed to repeat it. Because if we don't shut down media, if we don't start looking at the fact where we ostracize people that go on there and act like a buffoon, we don't pass it on. We don't keep passing it to 15 people. When you see the little girl and she's half dressed and she's dropping it like it's hot, and black people going back and forth on that thing saying, oh no, that's okay because that's part of us. That's our culture. Because what's happening now, we have a big divide in our community. We have the haves, manners, have Jesus, and we have the ones that only have the internet. Lack of education, lack of morals, no belief in any God, be it Islam, Judaism, Christianity, what? They don't believe in anything. If you don't believe in anything, you'll do anything.
Everybody believes in something.
But I was going to say, too, when she was talking about, like what we're talking about, the generational trauma, I'm a person that I really do believe in that. But I also know that on top of generational, you have your generational trauma that's been passed down. And we're still being traumatized. You're still turning on the TV almost every family you know has had someone murdered in their family. You know, every time you turn on the TV, you're seeing something happen to a black person, or you're in neighborhoods where you don't have access to certain foods and different things like that. So it's still happening, right? It's not just like that it stopped after slavery. We've continued to, and every single time that we've built something to say, hey, we're dope, we can do this. Every time we build something, here comes someone to tear it down, to burn it down, to flood it. You know, this is stuff that we already know is facts. That's why they're trying to hide. So if you are, every time you try to pick yourself up and make yourself great and something happens, you start to have the mindset of what a lot of people do have, and you're gonna lean more towards doom if that's all around you. That's what you're used to. If you're in a household and your mother and father fought all the time, you are going to be attracted to chaos and not even know why. Be attracted to ratchetness and not even know why. If that's what you are around. And a lot of people have still been in these cycles of just being around negativity. So that looks fun to them. That looks okay to them.
No, it looks normal to them.
Right. So
Exactly. That's home.
Yeah, that's right.
home.
Exactly. That's
how do we
normal.
change it? How do we change it?
So basically, you have to find yourself, and this is my belief system. I ain't here to juggle with nobody. Don't understand it. My belief system is, in order to identify you got to know your halves, your causes, your effects, your bloodline, and all of those things that make a difference. Like for myself, my daughter, I knew I didn't want her to be a teen parent just because I didn't want her to experience birthing so early because it hurt me so bad. How did I have to explain that to her? Everything I went through, good, bad, or indifferent, it was never difficult to tell her the story. I'm 6 years old. Let me teach you about your pocketbook because that's when mine was touched. I'm 8. My parents divorced. Okay, your daddy not in your life, but we're going to keep him present. These are all things. We're going to build a relationship with his family. 14, 16. She don't know nothing about selling drugs. I sold drugs the majority of her life. She knows nothing about that. She's the first to go to college, the first to be not a teen parent. You got to start communicating. And you have to communicate effectively by telling your children who you are, the good, the bad, and the indifferent, because that's the only way they're not going to repeat it. They going to repeat what they know and what you don't show them just by DNA, right? So you made a huge point to say, yeah, we can change it. But it has to start in your own individual homes before you come outside off the porch and mingle with other people, because you need to be empowering them to teach them how to change it, right? Everybody got wives and girlfriends. You'll find yourself in a relationship and like, oh, she real cool. And then you see her Uncle Robbie, like, you go to Christmas. Why Uncle Robbie like that? Oh, that's just who he is. No, when we get home, why Uncle Robbie like that? Because we got kids over here. What's happening? Your family been pushing Uncle Robbie to the side all y'all life. What that mean? Oh, well, it was heard or it was said before that when Uncle Robbie was little, he used to touch girls, and my kids can't go back over there. But nobody's having a difficult conversation, so you're not going to change it until people sit down and say, tell me who we are. Tell me what I'm getting into.
No, I agree with you. And I think a lot of what we said earlier about in terms of with the rap music, we go with what's hot, it's, and we talked about this thing last week or weeks before, we as black people develop so much of the cultures that go on in this country. We are the culture.
That's right.
Everything that we do gets mimicked in every genre of music, TV, you name it, sports. Whatever we do becomes hot.
That's right.
They used to wear the short basketball shorts until the brothers started saying we were wearing baggy shorts. What I mean? They were wearing the low top. Yeah. Shoes to the brothers. Now we wearing these high tops. We wearing the black stuff. Whatever we do becomes the culture.
And we don't know the power we hold with that.
And that's where I'm going with it. And we don't understand the power that we hold with that fact. You know what I mean? So all the things we're doing, it's so cultural based and it's such a popularity. And then we allow them to steal our culture. And then they glamorize all the negativity.
And make a mockery out of us.
And make a complete mockery out of it. But because it's seen so much, you talking about all the videos, you know what I mean? This is what they're going to show. They're not going to show them doing this stuff. They're only going to show us doing it.
That's right.
You know, and so until we get that self-check.
That's right.
To say, no, we don't want this. We don't want to see somebody get killed in every single song that comes out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somebody needs to live in some of these songs. Some of it's going to be positive. You know what I mean?
Let them live.
Let them live.
But we got to learn how to start turning down a check.
Say the black.
And I think that's one of the big issues.
The black man ain't gonna
you
get
know?
killed
Well,
in
the
this
part
hard
of it
fight.
is, but that's where I keep on harping on it until we get it out to the masses. It's not people at this table. It's the
I know
youth
facts.
that believe everything they see on the internet. And if they don't have a belief that there's anything false
I'm
there,
doing it now.
they're going to listen to that before they listen to any preacher. Jesus Christ can plop right down here now. And if they had a choice between listening to, you know, what's happening with Diddy or what's happening with whoever, they're going to do that and not see that.
Well,
so
and-
they would miss the message.
But they're brainwashed, right?
But that's my point.
And
If
they're
we don't
totally
talk
brainwashed.
about what the root cause of them being brainwashed are, they're going to continue to be brainwashed.
I believe, and I think that's what we're answering the question. We are the root cause.
Okay.
Let's be clear.
All right, yeah. Wrap it up.
Chop it
But
up.
I have to. There was a comment about a millennial about when you said about Jesus sitting up here, and he was asking about which Jesus, black Jesus, Korean Jesus, white Jesus. And it had me wonder, I wonder if there's a different picture of Jesus in different houses, like in the Korean house. Is it a Korean Jesus?
No, it's a Koreans have God the mother.
That's what I was going to say. You know, all those religions they
Don't
all
believe
have
the same
different-
thing. Yeah.
All those. I'm sorry,
Koreans
I meant to say
believe
all
in
those
a
different countries,
there's
they
a
have
mother
different
God.
religions.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what?
You got abs.
Go,
Well, I can't. You know what? I can't.
say what the top 5 is. That it really made me think about
What's
that.
wrong with him? He says a Korean Jesus with abs.
All right, hilarious. So listen, I'm gonna read the comments, but I'm gonna do the top 5s. Y'all get ready, then I'm gonna read the comments. Top 5 movies that made you emotional or cried. You know, top 5 movies that really got to your gut. And while you're thinking about it, I'm gonna read some of these comments real quick. Mom said she learned a lot at the Black Museum. The Black Museum in D.C., which your boy King Donald is trying to shut down. Hidden Figures was...
Did not call him king.
Yeah, that's what he wants to be. Hidden Figures was across the bridge where we lived in Portsmouth. We didn't know anything about these women until the movie came out. Another great point. We just don't know our history. Wow. Get a chance before the show and go to Afro Think Tank and listen to the video where an old white farmer schools a younger farmer on a game the government's playing, pitting against one another. Yeah, you already said the witch Jesus. Where the black women who shelled the net crab meat in the seafood industry in Chesapeake, or the black women who landscaped the Norfolk Botanical Gardens. Black Jesus, white Jesus, no Jesus, Lakers in 5. Good point, Dwayne. How many seasons of Love and Hip Hop versus how many seasons of Blackish? Yeah, they love Love and Hip Hop, man. You know.
Guilty as George.
They spinning, y'all. They spinning.
Things we don't like to talk about. They said too many variables to change. Overall, I think what Dr. Cindy said earlier, it got to start in individual households and pass it on. You know, that's where it starts at. Like my kids wouldn't dare walk out the house putting no pants hanging down their butts and all that BS that we allow. I said to y'all the other day, man, how gay is it that we had a flag football field and guys walking around showing their drawers at the foot with all guys? That junk is so retarded. But anyway, I digress.
No, for real. That's sad.
Middle finger to you, Frank. I give you the middle finger, sir.
Thank you, Kurt.
Oh
my God. Okay, like, and
The nicest F you ever heard.
Yeah. I think we don't like to talk about this. I think we know the power of our culture, but we don't control enough revenue to make it effective and beneficial for the majority of us. We do control the revenue.
We do.
We absolutely do. We just don't understand that we control
That's
the
right.
revenue.
Especially with Target losing all them billions of dollars. We control the revenue.
He said there are pictures of an Asian Jesus. Does he have abs like Millennial said?
Oh, God. God.
All right, top 5. Who ready? Go for it.
Let's see. Cry Freedom,
Good one.
Roots, Hotel Rwanda. One of my all-time favorite movies that turned me into the radical and why I was driven. Shaka Zulu.
Okay.
That to me, that's like you gotta have your kids watch Shaka Zulu. And other than that, that's 4. I think Cornbread Earl and Me.
Okay.
Good one.
Okay.
That shit,
Well, you got me.
Okay.
That's
that shit was like
That was it.
like,
Yeah, that's good.
Look,
Hey,
Right.
looking down.
I ain't crying, you crying, right? That was
Hey,
a
man.
great one.
Lawrence Fishburne Jr., Larry Fishburne Jr.
Come on, man.
God, you got me on that one, boy.
Yeah.
That's a good
You're
one.
gonna make me look that up.
Oh,
I gotta watch
you
that
done
this
seen that?
weekend. I know I've seen it. I'm
okay.
saying it's gonna make me double back. I ain't saw it
Oh,
in
yeah.
years.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
for
a good
sure.
movie,
me
bro.
too.
Yeah, I ain't seen it in
That
years.
orange pop.
Honorable mention, Old Yeller.
Was you born? Oh, yellow. Oh, yellow.
Oh, me. Okay. My top movie, I actually use it for my clients, is The Shack.
Okay.
Great movie. Let's see. Color Purple.
Yeah.
War Room. I can't think of the name, but it's a movie about the guy who it shows the domino effect. The young girl working at the Spanish restaurant, she driving delivery, she texting and driving, she hit the little boy, and then the little boy, what's the name of it? I'm not sure. I had to look it up. I'll look it up before we leave. But anyway, the man,
That could be like
the
a
black-
butterfly effect, though.
yeah, the black guy, it's his son that dies, and so it comes to find out the pastor at the church and everybody didn't even know, and he gets the heart of the boy who died and the girl who. It's an amazing movie. Let me see, how many is that? 3. Lion King. I understood that. Lion King. Let me see. My last one. New Jack City. I ain't like when he died.
Wait.
I wanted Nino to live. I wanted Nino to live forever.
In reality, Nino would have lived.
Hilarious.
There you go, celebrate. Look,
You got to say.
Look, there you go, celebrate that ratchetness.
Right. Thanks. Like, why I want Nino to live? Nino was a real player. man.
Hilarious.
All right, I got Inside Out 2. What's Love Got to Do with It? Anita Franklin, it was on Genius. It's like I think it was like several episodes. It's really, really dope. And Roots and Color Purple. Color Purple is like my favorite movie.
All right.
All right. Just gonna flip y'all up a little bit, but Superfly, because of the simple fact that that reminded me so much of my daddy. That was the only connection I kind of had to him at a younger age. Roots, Glory, Lady Sings the Blues,
Okay.
and it's not a movie, but the Fresh Prince episode with Ben Vereen as his dad. If I watched it tonight, I'm crying.
Yeah, that was
Every time.
powerful.
That's
Yeah.
super powerful. Super
Yes.
powerful.
Get me every time.
Yeah, man.
Every time.
That was powerful. Yeah, I'll never
Why
forget
you
that.
don't love me, man?
Yeah, I'll never forget that.
That's young deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 5.
Yeah.
That's deep. All right. Let's see.
Perfect example of the problems.
Things we don't like to talk about. Got Armageddon, Saving Private Ryan, Do the Right Thing, Malcolm X, Boys in the Hood.
Okay.
Oh, Ricky.
Ricky.
Number one fan got Life, Fruitvale Station. Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
A Raising in the Sun. Oh man, here's another good one. John Q. That was
Yes.
good.
Oh man.
And A Soldier
That's a
Story,
good one.
another good one.
Yeah, Soldier Story, yeah.
Ty
Oh,
Vick
yes,
got
that was
Purple
good.
Rain. What'd you cry about Purple Rain?
Because the daddy beat the mama.
Yeah, come on.
Oh.
La Bamba, Boys in the Hood, Glory, and Roots. Number one, honorable mentions, Last Holiday, Just Right, The Bodyguard, Christmas Pack, A Sappy Christmas.
Last holiday. What? It was.
Frank has Glory, Last of the Mohicans, Titanic, Harlem Nights. More of a joy thing when thinking about all the extras in the movie. A lot of extras in that movie for sure. 12 Years a Slave and A Soldier Story.
Yeah, that was a good one.
All right. I got,
Titanic, Frank, really.
yeah. I got Roots as well. I also had Glory. The introduction of the greatest actor of all time, Mr. Denzel himself. Green Mile.
Oh yeah.
John Coffey.
Yeah.
That little rat.
Oh man.
Yeah. Beale Street.
Yeah.
Beale Street was deep.
It sure was.
And another great movie Will Smith did, man, The Pursuit of Happiness.
Oh yeah, no, for real.
I had that as honorable mention.
Yeah, Pursuit of Happiness was dope.
Yeah.
And I also had one of my honorable mentions was Boys in the Hood as well. You know, there go Ricky.
Man. Yeah, man.
And then he passed SAT. When he passed SAT, he was like, oh, man.
Oh man.
He
Right.
made it.
He
Ricky,
made
you
it.
made it, man.
That was
Right.
everybody in the theater got quiet.
That movie I was thinking of, my niece just told me it's A Question of Faith. If y'all haven't saw that, you gotta watch that movie. The Shack and A Question of Faith. Those are life-changing movies.
Shack was a book too, right?
The Shack was a book too.
Yeah, I read the
From
book.
another colleague. Yeah, but the movie,
the
you
book.
gonna love the movie if you read the book. Because I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too.
Question of
Great
faith.
movie. A Question
Frank,
of Faith.
JT, Frank said the band is still playing.
And the bottom link, Dr. Cindy.
Yeah.
Go ahead and let folks know, real quick what you're doing and how to follow you.
Okay, so want to follow me at Love From Afar. That'll get me wherever. I am just moving. I'm getting ready to. I just submitted a proposal to open a mental health community center in DeKalb County, Georgia, so that I can give, say, a adult boys and girls club kind of thing, where we come in, do wraparound services. We'll also have all that you need to literally get back on track. So whatever you've been out of track for, you come there for everything. We're talking, just imagine LA Fitness, but everything in there is just to help your body get right. Mental health facility. And I just finished my third book. It just launched. It's What's in Your Lemonade. So it completes the series. So I finally, this one? Okay. So it completes the series. So we got my first one, Concrete Soil, Overcoming Grief. The second one is After My Daddy Left. And the third one is What's in Your Lemonade. These two are both journals. So it's homework. So you'll read it and then you'll actually engage in it. And my life changed today. I got to mention this. My life changed today. You guys are not in the studio with me, but I have my niece with me. And I met her today about 2 hours ago. She is my daughter's age, 33, 34 years old. She's my brother's child. And she found our family on Ancestry.com that I never knew that even was a thing, right? And so when she walked in the restaurant, though we saw pictures, she walked in and I instantly saw myself. And it blew my mind. And she was crying and I was just looking at her like, you safe? You home now, baby? Yeah, like you home now, baby. You good, right? I think it was one of the most profound things in life to have something like that happen. And God is never done letting you know where you come from. And when you think you didn't even know, it has blessed me today. And I've been fasting for the last 2 days for Holy Week and not even knowing. And we planned it like last week, but when this happened, I'm like, let's go on here. Let's talk about this. I'm like, yeah, come go with me. So she's never seen me in this. She don't even, like, we don't know each other, right? But boy, I love her to death, and she looked like my daughter. And I don't be emotional, but God is amazing.
That's awesome.
God is amazing.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
All right, Jose, what do you want to let people know where they can?
That's a blessing.
Jose Sunray on everything.
Ask a cop.
You're waiting on the change.
Yeah, there you go. IG at Ask a Cop MJ.
You don't know it.
I don't fuck with that shit. I don't.
Wait for it to pop up.
I know he was slow popping it up. I was just gonna breeze it off today, and I looked
This
at
dude
that.
said, okay.
Now I got it up there.
What's I gonna do with him?
Hilarious.
Hey, condolences to the family. Family back home. We know what everybody's going through up there. Praying for you all. That's all we can say. We're praying for you. Peace out to the family. Love y'all. Also, yeah, he ready to eat his cake. Also, as I said last week, and I'm gonna say it again, man. Continue to check on your people. You know, we've had good friends, man, that just fell ill for various reasons, man, and just, you know, just another example of how precious life is. You know, and just reach out to people, man. You ain't talk to somebody around. Somebody come across your spirit. So I should call such. Go ahead and do it right then and there.
That's right.
You know what I mean? You never know the difference you'll make in somebody's life just by reaching out to them. You know, we talked about the suicide thing earlier, man. I personally have talked 2 people down through suicides, man. So you just never know what people are going through, and just a word from you could help. So. That's all I got.
As Dr. Cindy has told us, life be lifing. But it don't mean that you can't live the life. As Angela said, check on your people.
Right.
Check on your people. As you said, we have a friend that just came down with an illness, something we never thought would happen. Shell of a Man, the stage play up here at Uptown Comedy Corner, July 20th. Get your tickets right now. Yeah, get your tickets.
Be
Get
here?
your tickets.
Okay.
Get your tickets.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, I am with I'm Robert on the Country Wayne series. Look for me real soon.
Okay.
You ain't gonna like me, but that's cool. I can deal with that.
Cha-ching.
Post the times when they tell you they tell you the times. Or post the times
when
when
they
gonna
put the episodes out, I make sure to let y'all know. Got cast for some other stuff, but I'll let y'all know about that.
Love it.
2 major motion pictures just came across my lap earlier today.
Let's
But
go.
again, man, I am starting my own thing. It's going to be within the cigar community in regards to men finding a space to feel and heal.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be letting y'all know about that. I'm still in the works of getting it together. My stage play, God Guys, we are going to St. Martin. We're going to be presenting exactly that, a space to feel and heal over there. We're also going to Canton, Ohio. So I will be going to the NFL Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Checking that out.
Dope
Let's
experience.
go.
Yeah,
That's
doing
dope.
that. So yeah, moving, shaking, and it's, all the moves are being made with the building block of mental health. That's what I stand on.
I love it.
So with that, man,
You ain't said in a while, man, but
Thank you, number 1 fan.
make sure y'all like, share, subscribe.
started that other stuff.
I saw y'all hitting some of the heart buttons today. You know, make sure y'all continue to do that. But please take the time to
Tagline.
tell a friend, tag a friend
Not now, but right now.
right now.
And that's going to do it. Classic Conversations with JT and Lo.
And Ask a Cop.
And we out. You dig?
Now he go get his cake.